Hello there and welcome to biology, my classes. You notice I didn't say Bio 111. This video is going to be for Bio 111 and Bio 112. And I am your teacher, Vanessa. And so the purpose of this video, I'm going to go ahead and show you the ins and outs of D2L, and my dogs are going to say hello. Ins and outs of D2L, and I'm also going to show you around Pearson's Mastering Biology. That way you can see how that is going to work. So let's go ahead and get started on the D2L. So here, if you notice, so I have 4 classes this summer, 3 of which are 111 and 1 is 112. So I'm looking at a 111 course shell, but just know this applies to all my classes. It's just a matter of you got 112 has different assignments than 111, but both 112 and 111 are going to have assignments, discussions, labs that are online, labs that are in class, and then also Pearson Mastering Biology. So just know what I tell you is going to go ahead and go across the board for both of you. So as you can see, it says I have 2 quizzes not attempted. I signed in, I'm impersonating a student, so you can see what it looks like on the student side. So you're not actually seeing what it looks like on my side to avoid any confusion if I have things that you don't have yet. And so here is your main announcements. So this is your course home, contents, assignments, discussion, quizzes. We will use all of those. As far as rubrics, I'm going to upload a rubric for discussion board since this week's first discussion board is very just get to know you. I'm just revamping the rubric for 15 points versus in the past they've been a different score, and I want to go ahead and make sure that you guys are getting ample credit for your wonderful work. You got your grades. Check in there all the time. If you ever have any discrepancies, please send me an email. I'm not above nice emails saying, hey, Miss Zaragon, I think it should be this. Could you go ahead and look into that? As far as attendance logs, I usually keep attendance out of the attendance logs, but I'm going to make an attempt to do the attendance here because you guys are online. Really, your attendance online is going to be whether you participate in your discussion boards. If I don't see you for a week in your discussion boards, that will go in the attendance log that you didn't attend. So, which means you might have been doing quizzes, not quizzes, excuse me, your labs at home, but you didn't turn them in, or you might have whatever it was. If I don't see any activity, whether it's turning in an assignment, but usually it's going to be the discussion boards. That is the best way. Because it's really important and it's a good part of your grade, and it's a great way to cushion your grade too, by the way. Class lists, if you ever want to talk to somebody in your class, you're going to get to know people. So if you get to know some people and you want to go ahead and just communicate with them one-on-one, you can click in the class list and find them and send them an actual message. Class progress, you can look in your class progress, see how you're doing. It's just kind of a nice little tool. Keep in mind, I can look in your class progress also and see if you've looked at assignments I've given you, if you have done videos I've given you. So I know if you, and I'm just putting it out there, I know if you have visited your modules, your contents, if you have opened up your chapter PowerPoints. So I can actually see. So when I get those emails, Ms. Aragon, that chest was really hard, and then I look in your class progress and it shows that you haven't even looked at any of the content, that just kind of helps me to understand that, well, once they start participating, it should get better. Let's see what's in more. Groups. I haven't been in groups. We're going to talk about this a little bit later. So let's go ahead and get to the beginning. I'm talking fast because this is going to be a long video and I'm trying to not make it that long. But here we go. Always look for announcements. Being that we are online, this is my main way to communicate with you. And so with that, I'm just going to be honest with you. I think you need to open up your D2L every day. Sometimes they say every other day. I think it's really important because this is a summer class. If it were a fall class and you had 16 weeks, then I'd be like, okay, you can get in there every other day, check out the announcements, see, because this is going to be my main means of communication, and you're responsible for what I give you. But this is a 10-week course. So being that it is 10 weeks, you're taking 16 weeks of material and putting it into 10 weeks. There's nothing that is taken out. You're still responsible for the 10 weeks, 16 weeks of material. I'm going to go ahead and mark it as red. Hopefully I don't get a bunch of text messages up there. Alrighty. So as you see and you go through, you have kind of a little checklist here that you can get into documents here. I'm old school. This is a newer type of I don't know what you would call it, side module. I usually go So usually you'll find what's here, but this will be very brief and this will be to completion. So that's why I just like to go there. As you look here, you can see you have Pearson Mastering Biology right there. This is going to be very important, the Mastering Biology. We're going to go over this towards the end. I'm going to do all of the D2L first. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit Content. When you click into Content, I have everybody's shells completely ready. As far as the modules, the PowerPoints, let's go ahead and click into one first. We'll start here. What a great place to start. Look at that. You have everything, weeks 1 through 10. This should have been your first visit, the syllabus and the syllabus quiz. The syllabus quiz is due, when is it? It's due on the 28th. So the 28th should be Thursday. What's today? Yep, that would be tomorrow, 11:59 p.m. You will find that this is going to be the common theme all the time with due dates. They are due at 11:59 p.m. So if you find that there's an error and it's not 11:59 p.m., let me know, okay? Because that's usually how I roll. So with that, you click into your syllabus. Everybody should have access to the syllabus. If you do not, please let me know. You could do one of two ways. You can click and open, or you can do a side, the little drop down, and do download. I don't want to download it. I already have it on my computer. And so let's go ahead and open syllabus via this way. So as you open the syllabus here, everything you need. This is the 2H1 section. Slide down, slide down, slide down. Look at that. These are all your, like everything else was your expectations. This is going to be your list of everything you have due. I actually have that ready to go on the side to look at, so I'm going to go ahead and get out of this right now. So I want to show you something. You can back out and then click on the next thing, or you can go ahead and toggle right here. And this takes you to the next sub-module within the module. So this is to show you, somebody sent me this picture, and I thank you very much, because in the syllabus it says it's supposed to be the 11th edition, and as you can see here, the one at the bookstore says the 3rd edition. So if you look inside, which you didn't want to open it yet, but it says the 11th edition inside. Let me tell you why. This is volume 1. So the 11th edition is the big fat textbook that is bound and hard covered. The 11th edition officially covers Biology 111 and Biology 112. It has a sunflower on it. If you have that, that is great. It will work for you. The reason why this is the 3rd edition, because it's the 3rd edition at volume 1, which means this is the first volume of the courses, so it's only Bio 111. So if you are renting a book and you don't have the one that's kind of like green-blue and you have the one that's mainly blue, that's fine. It'll work just fine. If you have the volume before that, the 1st edition, but it looks very similar, that would be okay too, okay? So let's go ahead and toggle to the next. As you can see here, you have your syllabus quiz, okay? Your syllabus quiz is, like I told you, going to be due on Thursday, 11:59 p.m. It's really important that you make your due dates because I essentially have 65 people for the summer. And if 50% of those people don't make due dates and I'm running around trying to reset stuff, I'm just going to be honest with you, that's not fair to me. I have due dates. I have to get you guys information in a specific amount of time. And with that, you have due dates. So I'm responsible to you. You're responsible to yourself. So which means if you don't make your due dates, unless you have an excused absence, which are extenuating circumstances, and yes, COVID-19 issues with yourself, your family, that is considered an excused absence, okay? So I want to put that out there. All right, so let's go ahead and go to the next, lab safety. So your lab safety, normally we would just have this one lab safety, but because of the circumstances, we have an additional lab safety adherence. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. This is when you go to campus for your labs. Now, I'm going to design it where we're only going to be doing a few on-campus labs. I'm not going to want to do every single week. So I'm going to be redesigning that syllabus. I'm not a special population, but I have a condition that puts me at a little bit higher risk. And so with that, we're going to go ahead and space out and only do labs that we need to be on campus for. If I cannot find alternative labs online, then those will be the times I schedule. And I will let you know plenty ahead of time. I'm going to put it together with a nice list. I'm going to try to stay to that list. So 6 feet apart, it's going to be basically in one lab, I would normally have 24 people. So since I can't have that, we'll be splitting those classes in half. So, which means we'll have 12 people in one room, 2 people per group, and you still have to space yourself out 6 feet between you. And then in an adjacent room, I would have those other 12 people, which means I'm going to be going back and forth between rooms. Now, there is only one circumstance where one of the classes, we couldn't get an adjacent room. So we had to put the lab on an alternate day. So, but I want you to know, we didn't just choose a day. Originally, these classes had lecture contact at the college. So the day that we chose to put the lab was one of those lecture days. So most people, I'm going to tell you, almost about 100%, maybe 95% of my people had already pre-signed up with that day in mind to commit to. So I have chosen the day of Thursday for those Wednesday people. So here's the deal. Right now I'm talking to 4 different classes. If this doesn't apply to you, don't freak out. I have given you all your lab information on your D2L welcome letter, okay? So that is what you have. I'll be letting you know what group you are in soon today. Alrighty. So as far as masks. So masks are recommended on campus. And as a faculty member, I have the carte blanche to go ahead and decide whether or not my class is going to wear a mask. Because I am considered at-risk population. I consider myself at risk because of all of the stuff they've put out there. I have required masks to be in my class. Okay, so unless for some reason you have health issues that keeps you from wearing a mask, that's a conversation that you just need to have with me. I don't think that accessibility needs to be involved in that, but we do need to have that conversation. Unless it goes beyond my level, then maybe accessibility, but it just started with me first. All right, so with that, space sharing, cleaning, I'm sure you've read all of this. You had to take a quiz on it. I'm going to go ahead and go to the next one. The next one is your lab safety rules. So with that, I'm not going to read through this. You have done through it. So, but just please make sure as you come in, the number one thing as you come in, where is it? Oh gosh, can't find it. I'll just say it out loud. You cannot wear flip-flops. You have to have closed-toed shoes, okay? So which means if you show up for a lab and you're not wearing closed-toed shoes, I will ask you to go home, because the labs that I choose to do in class are going to be labs that have most likely chemicals. Oh, here we go, in all labs. Hair tied back, also if you have long hair. You do not have to buy your own exam gloves. We have exam gloves there for you. Please come in with a mask just in case we run out. We should have some masks for everybody, for every lab, but just in case, why don't you have one in your back pocket, backpack, whatever. Now, the next thing, it tells me books, coats, etc. in the cubbies. Well, we don't have cubbies in the classes that we are in. So which means we have limited space where you can put things. And it's going to be on the floor underneath the hood in the back of the room. And so if you do not want your fancy purse or your nice backpacks on the floor, then that means don't bring them. Only bring with you what you need, okay? And what would you need for lab? You would need your lab report. that is going to be uploaded, and I will show you where to find the lab report. You will also need as far as your materials, your colored pencils, because we actually have colored pencils, but because we are in a situation where we don't really want to share a lot of stuff, maybe you get your own little 4-pack, 5-pack of colored pencils and bring them with you. But in all actuality, just most of our stuff is going to be done at home. When it comes to doing the labs, the plan is to get in, do the lab, collect the data, and leave. We're not going to be sitting around analyzing data, okay? That's what your lab discussion board is going to be for. We're not going to be sit around cruising, chit-chatting, any of that stuff. It'll be get in, clean, do your lab, clean, ask me for permission to leave. I will check you out to make sure that you have cleaned properly, and then you can go ahead and go. And so I will show you where the lab safety equipment is when we get into our proper rooms. So that is the meat and the potatoes of the things I have to tell you beforehand, but please read through this thoroughly. All right, next, microscope use. If we end up doing the lab with the microscope, this will be needed to be read before that first microscope lab. So going to the next, fragrance-free room. I'm sure you're probably wondering what that is about, okay? So with that, this is an accommodation that I have. I had to go through lots of rigor through human resources in order to receive this accommodation. I have a condition called sensory laryngeal neuropathy. And what that is, it is basically it's a neuropathy of the nerves that innervate my larynx. And I have several triggers. These are some of the triggers. And so perfumes, colognes, scented lotions, essential oils, persons that smoke or vape. I can't tell you not to smoke or vape. I can tell you not to wear perfumes and any scents to come into the lab. Because if you come in wearing any type of scents, I can ask you to leave and return when you are scent free. But persons that smoke or vape, I cannot tell you to do that. But what I can do is you cannot sit in the front of the lab. Being close to me, that will trigger my reaction. And these aren't my only triggers. Sometimes I will trigger anyway, and everybody's great, and the whole situation is great, and I just have triggers. But these are my big main triggers. And so what it does, it sets off an uncontrollable cough that I cannot stop. And sometimes it could be very violent. It could take 20 minutes to an hour. I take lots of medications, and I go through lots of rigor to try to control those where they're a lot smaller. But sometimes I do have to excuse myself too. Talking a lot, that triggers it too. So with my mask, I'm going to be wearing a microphone. That way I don't have to project so far across the room. And so with that, I ask that you please respect this. And if for some reason you do set me off, I don't want you to take offense. It's 100% me. And I just ask that maybe that lotion or that sometimes it's been hair products. People come in with their hair smelling so good. Yeah. Sometimes, a huge trigger, by the way, is laundry soap. Sometimes with that Gain laundry soap. So maybe for the summer you can switch to a free, whether that's all free or Tide free. I know this is a big commitment, and I'm so sorry about that. But with that, if you do Gain, hey, go to the back of the room. You know, it's really bad. You've seen the commercials. I'm not crazy. All right, next. All right, lab safety quiz. You're going to take a quiz on this. I'm actually going to upload a sensory video so you can get a little bit more information if you're interested. It won't be a requirement. So here's your lab safety quiz. That is also due on Thursday at 11:59 p.m. How are we on time? 19 minutes. Crap. All right, so consider this a lecture. All right, so let's go ahead and go to the table of contents. Your table of contents, when you look here, I've already gone through this. I can go ahead and open up my week 1. So you notice it opens up to the side, but it also opens up here. And I have several modules that are embedded into your week 1. Right here, when I have the chapters, I have PowerPoints. These are PowerPoints. If I were in class lecturing to you, I would be looking at these PowerPoints lecturing to you. So just to give you an idea, a lot of people ask me, this is a lot of information. what are we going to be tested on? So number one, when I get the PowerPoints for the publishers, they're about 250 PowerPoints to them. I usually can get them down to be somewhere between 40 to 70. It really depends on the chapters, okay? So with that, I pretty much cut out everything that I'm not going to be expecting you to know, okay? Now, as additional help for you, these are Chapter 1 objectives. So when you open up these Chapter 1 objectives, these are put forth by the Natural and Physical Sciences Department. And these chapter objectives tell you what they expect you to know in this chapter as a Bio 111 student. Your Bio 112 also has chapter objectives too. So essentially, to be a successful Bio 111 student, these are topics that you are expected to know and to be able to pass on a test. And I have to abide by them. Now, with that, I can't test you on everything. I can't. So, think of biology like a pyramid. The bottom of the pyramid is the base of knowledge. Okay? The next tier of the pyramid is a more specific set of knowledge. But you can't have that more specific set of knowledge without knowing the base of the knowledge. And then that third tier from the bottom, that's an even more specific set of knowledge. Well, on that third tier, you can't know those concepts without understanding everything underneath. But I may not test you on every single one of those tiers, but maybe on the fourth, fifth tier, I'll test you on that. But you can't know what's on that tier and understand it without understanding the base set of knowledge underneath it. So, all right, let's go ahead and go back to our week 1. So sliding through, there's your chapter 1, there's your chapter 2, lab documents. You already have your first lab up. I will have your second lab up by the end of today. I figure you already had plenty of work to do yesterday, and I put this up yesterday. You could have go ahead and got started in that. This tells you what my expectations are. To have fun. Don't make this harder than it has to be, okay? I've given you, number 1, lab report. Let's open up the lab report. I do not want you to print this out and hand it in to me, okay? This lab report, download it. I want you to fill everything in electronically, which means type it. Type the answers. Where are we? There you go. Click on it. And then you can't click on it what's in here. You have to download it into the Word file. Click on it. Type in your answers. I would like your answers to be in an alternate color other than black, like maybe blue or purple or red, something that brings my eye. That way I'm grading, because like I told you, I have about 60 to 70 students this semester, and I want to be able to provide feedback in a timely manner. So if you can do that, that would be wonderful. So with that, when you're finished with this, you're going to upload this into your assignments folder. I'll show you those assignments in a moment. Now I'm going to click back into lab documents. You're like, but how do I do this? Well, you read through it and it gives you everything you need in the lab. But I've given you some side videos. So how to design a scientific experiment. So when you click on this, how to design a scientific experiment, you have a YouTube, and he has such, I only try to choose videos that are helpful. I really do. He has really good information on how, as a layman, you would set up a scientific experiment. What kind of, you think, the thought process that goes into it. Then when you go to the other video, I just backed it out. He actually gave you an example scientific reaction using a ruler. So this is a lot more specific to your lab. Now, in your lab, it talks about, let me go ahead and get out of there. In your lab report, okay, it will talk about cards, and it will talk about touching the cards and the colors. It was just giving you an idea. The whole point is a reaction experiment to see how we can react. So that's why I gave you this one, is reaction time. He actually did it where he dropped the ruler, and when you caught the ruler, you caught it at a specific inches, okay? And every time he had a different reading. So he did the measurement in what level of the ruler you can catch. If you're throwing an object or a ball, he talks about a ball experiment in here. You could do it with time. If you did it with the cards, you can do, I had some people in class, they had colored index cards. And on the colored index cards, like suppose there was a pink index card, the blue index card, a yellow index card, they wrote a color name on the index card. So if it was a blue index card, they wrote the word yellow on it. And if it was a green index card, they wrote the word blue on it. And so to trick the brain. And then they timed it and they went through the cards with their partner. And from there, they basically got data on how many cards they got right. Because they're really trying to guess what it said, not what the index card. So, yeah, I guess I just kind of gave you an experiment. But here's the deal. I've given you several examples. Because I've given you that experiment, I really don't want you to use it. But I've given it to you as an example. How can you think outside the box, okay? This is a no stress. Just have fun. It's a great time to get the family together and put them to work, okay? So, and if you live on your own, I'm sure you can design something that is a single individual type of experiment. And if you're having trouble, that's what the discussion board is for. So don't just go to the discussion board if you're having trouble. Everybody's required to work into the discussion board, okay? So you should be looking in there and say you're not having trouble, you help out other people who are having trouble. Or you discuss what it is that you're doing. Can you get some advice on parameters of how to collect the data? Or it's basically like being with your lab group, but you're doing it virtually, okay? So this class is expected to do a lot of graphing. Boom. Graphing resources. Beginner's Guide to Graphing, rules, and such. This is a great video to watch. I also put up on your D2L feed. It'll probably show up either tomorrow or sometime today. I have it on a timer. What I expect out of a good graph. Okay, it's like a checklist. Okay, how are we doing on time? 27 minutes, great. All right, so that's what you can expect. I'm gonna go ahead and click back into week 1 and close up the lab. So you notice I can go ahead and close up those modules and just close up this lab. It's under construction. I plan on having it complete by tonight. This lab is due on Friday. This lab is due on Sunday, okay? And as much as you're like, oh my gosh, that's a lot, that's the nature of summer school. It's not necessarily the nature of working online, because if you were in class, you would still be doing these. So that time that you're not sitting in your lab room, you should be sitting at home doing it. So no matter what, the same amount of time is spent. Alrighty, this is a great video. Feel free to watch it. Not a requirement. It says must watch, but that's more of a compelling type of a statement. Yeah, I need to change that. It shouldn't say overdue. Oh, I could have sworn I had that right. This is your discussion board. Most of you guys have found that. So your intro discussion, and then you have your lab group discussion. I'm going to go ahead and put some parameters here. I've already told you what the parameters are, but now that we're moving and grooving with the labs. Now in this week 1, because we have lab 1 and lab 2 during the first week, feel free to talk about both of those. Any of them, one of them, whatever it is. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and move this on. Let's go to assignments, assignments tab. I told you about the labs. Look at that. You already have, actually I have everything set for the rest of the semester, the dates. I've went through the syllabus. I'm going to click out, I'm going to go out of this and show you my syllabus. So I have on the syllabus all the grades. Here's your week 1 syllabus. Here are your chapters, syllabus quiz, due date, boom, boom. Discussion board. Discussion board opened on Tuesday. We're going to talk about this. The final date is the Sunday. Same thing for the lab discussion. We're going to talk about what that looks like as far as getting the greatest grade you can possibly get. Lab report, assignments. So everything is laid out for the entire semester, so there's no guesswork. You know exactly what to do. Let's go ahead and go back into this. And so you will go ahead and upload. I'm going to go ahead and click into it. So I want to show you something. Sometimes I might have something in here. It might be hidden. Like, so if you click in here and it says, like, you're like, I have no clue what she wants me to do. Let's make sure that it says show submission folder information. This just has the dates, right? But there might be times where I have actual instructions in here. So please check in here to make sure, okay? Upload your file, hit submit. You can submit, like say you mess up or you need to add on or blah, blah, blah. You can submit several files. It will save all your files that were submitted. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of there. All right, so let's go into the discussions. When you're in discussions, my office hours. I have one class, he's already given me, or I said somebody has already given me a post. And that's why I'm making this video. I was already planning on making the video, but you'll see it. It's not in this class, it's in the other. But if you have questions about biology content, boom, this is where you want to do it. Get in there. Miss Aragon, I'm having trouble with scientific method. Can you give me some information on this? Now, here's the deal. I need you to also be specific. You can't get in there and be like, I don't understand chapter 2, okay? Because I'm not going to just sit there and explain all of chapter 2 within one post. Mrs. Aragon, can you explain ionic bonds a little bit better? That is very specific. That's what I'm looking for. Now, with that, this is great for other people. I could get 60 emails on one topic, or you can put it all in here and everybody gets the benefit of me answering the question. So having that said, please don't send me emails asking me about understanding biology content, okay? I ask that you put it into here. Send me emails about personal issues. Say, I'm having my wisdom teeth out on this week and I'm gonna be out for the week. Will that be an excused absence? That's the case where you send me an email. Okay, something having to do with your own personal questions, not about biology content. You can post anonymously, but you don't have to. With that, I have ways where I can work it out to find who is posting, so which means we need to make sure when we are posting that we all have that classroom, that basically the decency. Don't take this as a point to kind of, go at me. All right, next. Water cooler. This is for you guys. I do not check the water cooler, okay? Every once in a while, I'll look in there to make sure that there's that classroom decency and people are talking right to each other. But with that, don't put any questions in there for me. This is an opportunity to get to know your fellow students, okay? Say you're a hiker and you're like, hey, anybody else a hiker? You want to take a, it's up to you. I can't tell you to go hike unless you stay 6 feet away from them. Haha. No, but that's for real. Okay, so week 1. Please make sure that you're not just looking at this discussion. I will put on the forum what you would expect in week 1. 2 discussions, intros and week 1 lab. So here's your intro discussion. Tells me I have 41 people because I'm signed in as Arnie Aardvark, and Arnie Aardvark has not read any of the discussions yet. So don't forget about the other one down here. Both of them are due on Sunday, May 31st. Now, I don't want, oh, look at that. That is awesome. I don't want emails saying, Mrs. Aragon, the discussion board closed before I can get into it. Well, I have a syllabus here that shows you all of your dates. And I have hooked up all your dates in your syllabus for discussions and lab reports and your dynamic study modules. I've hooked them up to match the syllabus. So it's your responsibility to know ahead of time when your due dates are. So if for some reason there's a discrepancy between my syllabus and those due dates, send me that email. I will fix it, okay? I tried to be very diligent and looked over it several times. Alrighty. How are we doing on time? 34 minutes. Next, quizzes. Now, you will not be tested on your chapter test here. You will have a handful of quizzes here. Syllabus quiz, lab safety quiz, they're already due. Other quizzes, your lab practicals will be found here because I don't have the ability to put them on Mastering Biology. And then I'm toggling whether or not your final will be here. Last semester I put the final here because it was kind of in crunch time. But now that I have a little bit more time, I may be putting your final on Mastering Biology. I don't know yet. I will let you know, okay? I have to do what is going to work best for the content of the class. All right, so next is going to be your rubrics. Oh, have you noticed your syllabus quiz, you get 2 attempts, okay? So use them both. On your practical, you will not get 2 attempts, so don't expect 2 attempts. And then on your lecture exams and your final, you do not get 2 attempts. All right, so rubrics. I will have some rubrics. Hang on, I need a drink before I start coughing. Excuse me. So I will have some rubrics here that are specific to your discussion boards. I will also embed those rubrics into your discussion boards. And so check back. I'll have them labeled. This rubric, I'm going to actually hide them. These are not specific to your class here, so I'm going to go ahead and hide them and get rid of them. Grades. So when I look in here, you can see I have everything. I might have a few things that are not up yet. That is correct. I need to change up these discussion boards and get those set up. But for the most part, this is to completion except for your other weeks of your group discussion. So I need to work on fixing your discussion board grades. But right away, when you look in here, where's my quizzes? Where's my quizzes? Sorry if this gets you dizzy. There you go, right at the front. Syllabus quiz. If you've taken it, you should see a grade here, and it'll tell you the percent. Same thing with the lab quiz. Now, when you go to do your dynamic study modules, you're going to take them, but you're not going to see a grade show up here yet. A grade will not show up here until after the due date has passed. Reason being is I have to go in and sync the grades. And I don't sync them until the due date has passed. That way a bunch of zeros don't show up here for a bunch of people. Okay? So just letting you know, heads up. Alrighty, so grades, attendance. I have not put an attendance log today, but I will be working on doing an attendance register, and you will see whether or not you participated for the week there. I'm required to do this. So I'm required to do this for online and the in-class labs that we have. So your weekly attendance. And that is not a college requirement, that is a federal requirement for financial aid. And whether or not you're receiving federal financial aid does not matter. I still have to take your attendance. Go ahead and click into class progress. If I want to see how I'm doing, you can see. You can click into every individual thing, and you can see I've not done anything because I'm Arnie Aardvark, and I have not done anything. So I think I have covered all of the meat and potatoes. Let's see. I'm going to look into groups here. Okay. So I've separated you guys out into groups. I'm going to be working on hiding these. These are old class groups. Why they're there, I don't know. I probably hit something I shouldn't have. But for this course, you have group A and you have group B. If I were to click into group A, it shows me nothing there. I've never done this one on their side. Look at that. I can see my group members. There you go. And then in group B, I can go see those group members. Here's the deal. Because I'm Arnie Aardvark and the teacher, I'm seeing both. There's a chance that you don't see both, that you probably just see in your group. And you're like, how does that apply to you? Well, number one, I'm going to separate the lab classes accordingly. So this would be group A, group B. This would be in one room. This would be another per your syllabus that I've already put together. And I've also separated your lab discussion boards accordingly. So if I go into those discussion boards, so this is the entire class discussion. This is only your lab group, okay? So it's much smaller. So that's probably why you see a whole heck of a lot of people participating here and not so much here. All right, so I hope that is helpful. I'm going to make a separate side video regarding mastering biology. I'll be right back with you.